Hello, and welcome to the Sleepy Minds. Whether you're curled up in bed, drifting off in a cozy chair, or simply letting your thoughts float like soft clouds across your inner sky, I'm so glad you're here. Tonight, we're going to take a slow, soothing journey inside your body. Not to the muscles you move or the heartbeat you feel, but to something far more quiet, far more hidden, and yet always active. Because even now, as you rest, a silent orchestra is playing inside you. Every second of every day, your body performs a symphony of protection, without you hearing it, without you feeling it. And yet, without it, you wouldn't last a single moment. This is the story of your immune system. But we won't call it a battlefield. Not tonight. Tonight, we'll imagine it as a symphony, a performance written by evolution over billions of years. A quiet masterpiece that plays whether you're awake or asleep, whether you're thinking or dreaming, or simply letting go. So close your eyes, if you'd like to. Breathe gently, and let yourself sink into the first movement of this invisible song. Imagine a grand concert hall, but instead of violins and flutes, it's filled with tiny living instruments, white blood cells, floating through your bloodstream like graceful musicians. Each one knows its part. Some play notes of attack, others of memory. Some quietly listen. Others step in only when things go wrong. And you? You are the stage they perform upon. You are the audience. And yet you never hear the music. But tonight, we'll try to listen. Not with ears, but with understanding. Because the better we know this orchestra, the more we can appreciate the miracle we carry inside us. Let's begin at the surface. Not in the blood, not in the bone, but at the edge of where you meet the world. Your skin, that soft, warm layer that shields your inner world from the outer one, is the very first instrument in this grand performance. It's not just a covering. It's a wall, a fortress, a silent sentinel that keeps out billions of invisible intruders each day. Bacteria, viruses, fungi, most never make it past your skin's defenses. But your skin doesn't work alone. Your eyes produce tears, laced with enzymes that destroy invaders before they can enter. Your saliva washes away bacteria in your mouth, like a gentle river flowing through a forest. Even your nose hairs trap particles in the air, keeping danger from reaching deeper. You were designed, layer by layer, to be protected, to resist, to survive. And yet, sometimes, something slips through. Let's say you get a small cut, tiny, barely visible, just a scratch on the back of your hand. To you, it's nothing, but to your body, it's an open door. And as air meets blood, and the skin opens just a little, a microscopic world comes rushing in. Bacteria, viruses, tiny, living organisms, smaller than a speck of dust, step through that opening like uninvited guests. But they are not met with silence. Because just beneath your skin, waiting in the shadows, are your first responders. They're always there, watching, listening. They are part of what scientists call your innate immune system, the ancient, fast, nonspecific guardians of your body. You can think of them as the percussion section. Quick, reactive, always ready to sound the alarm. The first to arrive might be a neutrophil, a tiny, fast-moving cell that can detect a threat within minutes. It rushes toward the intruder like a hawk diving toward its prey. And when it reaches the bacteria, it swallows it whole, engulfs it, destroys it. No questions, no hesitation. You'll never feel it happen. But in that single moment, your body just prevented an infection. Now imagine more of them arriving. Macrophages, the big eaters. Dendritic cells, the informants. They begin to swarm the area around the cut. Some fight, others clean up the mess, and some quietly collect information. Because while the innate immune system is fast, it isn't precise. It doesn't know exactly what the invader is, only that it doesn't belong. It's like hearing a wrong note in the symphony. You don't know who played it, but you know it wasn't part of the music. So your innate system sends out a signal, a message to the rest of your body. A call for help. This signal travels through chemicals called cytokines, messengers that drift through your bloodstream like soft whispers in the dark. They alert other parts of your body. Something's here, they say. We need backup. And slowly, your body begins to respond. You might notice it in the form of redness around the cut. That's your blood vessels opening, allowing more immune cells to flood the area. You might feel warmth. That's the energy of battle. You might even develop a slight fever, your body raising its temperature to make it harder for the invader to survive. It all happens quietly, softly, automatically, while you work or sleep or dream. And if the threat is handled quickly, the system calms itself just as silently. The swelling fades, the redness disappears, and the orchestra returns to its steady rhythm. But sometimes, the intruder is clever. It hides, it spreads, it outsmarts the first wave of defenders. And when that happens, the body calls upon the next section of its orchestra, the more complex, the more precise, the adaptive immune system. But we'll meet those players soon. For now, let's return to the music. Imagine your body as a great city, each organ a district, each blood vessel a road. And floating through those roads are the immune cells, your city's quiet guardians. They don't have eyes. They don't have ears. And yet, they know when something's wrong. They know the shape of you. They know what belongs. And more importantly, they know what doesn't. This ability to recognize self versus not self is the very foundation of immunity. It's how a macrophage can ignore your own skin cells, but attack a single foreign bacterium. They are trained, over time, to know your body's signature. Like a melody you've heard your whole life. And when something hits a wrong note, they know. They respond not with panic, but with purpose. Not with fear, but with precision. And so the symphony continues, minute by minute, day by day. Even now, as you lie still, your blood flows, your cells move, your defenders wait. There are no drum rolls, no applause, just a quiet, perfect coordination, a harmony you never hear, but one that never stops playing. This is only the beginning. In the next part of our journey, we'll step deeper into this invisible world. We'll meet the alarm bells, the scouts, and the soldiers of your immune system's front line. We'll explore the ancient intelligence of your innate immunity, the part of you that fights before you even know you're under attack. But for now, let your breath slow.
Let your body relax. And know that even in this moment of rest, you are deeply, quietly protected. Your orchestra plays on. There is a word that echoes gently in the halls of biology. Homeostasis. It means balance. Not silence, not stillness, but a living, breathing equilibrium. And your immune system is one of the most elegant dancers in that balance. It must defend without destroying. It must react without overreacting. It must remain awake without ever crying out. Too much silence, and you are vulnerable. Too much noise, and you are in danger from yourself. And so, your body weaves an intricate performance, a responsive choreography, where every cell listens to every other. You may picture a battlefield, but the truth is more like a quiet forest, where every rustle matters. Every movement, however small, carries a message. Let's take a walk into that forest. Down in your bloodstream, in the gentle flow of your capillaries, immune cells drift like leaves in a stream. Some move with purpose, crawling, rolling, sticking briefly to vessel walls, checking for signs of trouble. Others drift more passively, waiting to be summoned. The neutrophils, fast, aggressive, short-lived, make up the majority of your first responders. They are born in your bone marrow, trained for urgency, and sent out like short-lived sparks. Their job is not to ask questions. Their job is to react. And they do. When they encounter bacteria, they engulf them in a process called phagocytosis. You can imagine it like a soft jellyfish absorbing a raindrop, gentle, yet final. Inside, enzymes go to work. The bacteria are dissolved, dismantled, forgotten. But the neutrophil is not done. In some cases, it may sacrifice itself. bursting apart in a net of sticky proteins and DNA to trap more intruders. It dies so that others may live. It's a kind of quiet heroism you'll never feel. But it happens inside you thousands of times a day. Let's pause and zoom out. Because every response in the immune system has consequences, not just locally, but throughout your entire body. When neutrophils and macrophages arrive at a wound or infection site, they don't come alone. They bring with them chemical signals, the cytokines, as we mentioned before. These molecules drift outward, whispering to nearby blood vessels. Open the gates, and the vessels respond. They expand. They allow more cells to exit and enter the tissue. That's inflammation, not chaos, not dysfunction, but a coordinated invitation, an urgent, temporary remodeling of the body to deal with danger. Redness, swelling, warmth, even pain, all are signs that your immune system is listening and answering. Now imagine something even more elegant. A cell called the dendritic cell. It doesn't attack. It doesn't clean up. It observes. It samples. It collects small fragments of invaders, pieces of proteins, molecules that don't belong, and carries them away like a messenger bringing news from the frontier. Where does it go? To the lymph nodes. Those tiny, bean-shaped organs scattered throughout your neck, underarms, and abdomen. They may seem unimportant unless they swell up during illness, but inside, they are bustling centers of communication. Dendritic cells arrive at the lymph nodes and present what they've found. It's a bit like placing a mysterious object on a table and asking, "Does anyone here recognize this?" And waiting nearby are the cells that do. This process, called antigen presentation, is the bridge between your innate immune system and the more specialized, targeted response of your adaptive immunity, which we'll fully explore in the next part. But even here, in this quiet transition, there's beauty. Your body does not rush into war. It gathers intelligence. It presents evidence. And only then, when the invader is truly understood, does it begin to shape a specific response. It's not paranoia. It's patience. Because unnecessary fighting could hurt you just as much as the invader could. There's another place we must visit. The lymphatic system. It's often forgotten, overshadowed by the heart and veins and arteries. But in truth, it's one of the most critical highways in your body's immune network. Lymph vessels weave through your body like quiet backroads, carrying a clear fluid called lymph, which collects cellular waste, immune cells, and those tiny messengers we spoke of. Lymph nodes sit along these roads like checkpoints. And as the lymph flows through them, it's filtered, monitored, sifted for danger. It's a second circulatory system, but not for oxygen, for information. Even your bone marrow plays a part in the immune symphony, not just as a producer of blood cells, but as a kind of hidden training center. Every immune cell is born here, but not every cell is allowed to survive, because the body trains them to recognize you, and any cell that fails this test is quietly removed. You are built, from the beginning, to protect yourself from within. Now, drift your mind back to that small cut we imagined earlier. The swelling has gone down. The redness is fading. The warmth has cooled. The immune system did its job. It responded, contained the threat, and now it begins the process of retreating. But it doesn't just leave. It remembers. Even now, tiny fragments of the intruder, perhaps a protein from a bacterium, are being carried to the lymph nodes. There, they are cataloged, encoded, saved. The adaptive immune system, which we'll visit next, will take that information and store it, so that next time, if the same bacteria try to enter again, your body will respond faster, more accurately, more efficiently. This is what makes you stronger after an infection. This is why some illnesses only happen once. Your body learns. It doesn't forget. And all of that learning, all of that memory, begins with the quiet work of the innate immune system. Let's end this part with a breath. Because just by breathing, gently, rhythmically, you support your immune health. Every inhale carries oxygen to fuel your defenders. Every exhale helps release the heat of battle. Every moment of stillness gives your body a chance to repair, restore, and renew. You don't have to do anything. Your orchestra plays on. It listens for disharmony. It tunes itself constantly. It never stops practicing. It never stops performing. And it does all of this for you. In our next part, we'll journey deeper into the forest, where memory and precision begin to shape the response. We'll meet the cells that learn your enemies, the ones that build antibodies, craft immunity, and hold the record of every battle you've survived. We'll explore the adaptive immune system, the second movement in this invisible symphony.
But for now, close your eyes. Let the music of your body continue quietly. Trust in the balance, the harmony, the hidden protection that surrounds you. Always. You may not have noticed, but every breath you've taken since we began this journey has passed over tiny immune guardians, not just in your blood, but in your lungs. These delicate, spongy organs are lined with special cells. Some produce mucus, a gentle, sticky sheet that traps particles from the air. Others wave tiny, hair-like structures called cilia, brushing the mucus upward toward your throat, where it's quietly swallowed or expelled. In this way, every inhale is filtered. Every breath is protected, not with violence, but with elegance. If something more dangerous arrives, like a virus hitching a ride on a dust mote, the lungs have their own immune scouts waiting. Macrophages drift through the airways like slow-moving jellyfish, looking for anything that doesn't belong. They too swallow. They clean. They restore the rhythm of breath. Even the act of coughing, so sudden, so loud, is not random. It's a reflex triggered by your immune system to clear the stage. Because breath is sacred, and the body protects it as such. We often imagine danger as something dramatic. A wound, a fever, a clear sign that something is wrong. But the truth is, most of the dangers your immune system faces, you never see, you never feel. Your mouth, for instance, is home to billions of bacteria, and yet you aren't constantly sick. Why? Because balance has been struck. Many of those bacteria are harmless, even helpful. They play their roles, and your immune system lets them be. It only intervenes when the harmony breaks, when the wrong species overgrows, when the wrong message is whispered in the molecular corridors. It listens, always, but it only sings when necessary. Now think about food. Every time you eat, you're introducing foreign substances into your body. Proteins your body has never seen. Molecules from plants, animals, fungi. And yet, most of the time, you digest them with no trouble. That's because your immune system has learned a special trick. Tolerance. It has learned not just how to attack, but when not to attack. This is one of its most miraculous abilities. It can tell the difference between danger and peace, between invader and guest, between threat and nourishment. Of course, it doesn't always get it right. Sometimes the immune system overreacts. To pollen, to peanuts, to dust mites or shellfish or sunlight. In those cases, it's not a failure of protection. It's a misinterpretation of the music, a false alarm, a mistaken crescendo. The cells believe they are defending you, but they are responding to shadows. In time, we'll explore that, allergies, autoimmunity, and mistaken identity. But for now, let's stay with the core, the part of the immune system that, more often than not, listens wisely, responds calmly, and restores the rhythm with incredible grace. Let's return to the bloodstream, where another type of cell is drifting quietly, the eosinophils and basophils, less famous than their neutrophil cousins, but no less vital. They respond mostly to parasites, large invaders like worms or larvae, too big to be swallowed by a single cell. Instead of engulfing, these cells release chemicals, tiny packets of enzymes and toxins designed to break down the invader from the outside. You might think of them as a spray, a mist that melts what cannot be eaten. But they are careful. They know the risks. Too much spray, and your own tissue could suffer. So they wait. They time their release, and only act when the signal is clear. It's a dance of trust. Every immune cell must know when to act and when to rest. And when their job is done, the body gently retires them. Some die where they stand, releasing a final message. Others are cleaned up by scavenger cells, quietly digested and recycled. And through it all, you continue, unaware, unaffected, because that's the design. To protect you without disturbing you. To perform their part without waking you from the dream. And perhaps that is the greatest miracle of all. Your immune system is not just a tool. It is a companion, a living intelligence shaped by millions of years of survival, trained to serve you without praise, without thanks. It learns, it remembers, it evolves, and it does it without a mind, without a will, just through signals, molecules, movement, harmony. It is the definition of life in motion. Tonight, as you lay here listening, you are not alone. Trillions of cells are moving, reacting, checking, waiting, not frantically, not chaotically, but as part of an ancient rhythm. You were born with this music inside you, and it never stops. In our next part, we'll cross a quiet threshold, from the fast, general response of the innate system, to the precise, intelligent response of your adaptive system. We'll meet the cells that craft custom weapons, that remember every invader, that hold the very definition of your immunological identity. But before we leave tonight's journey behind, take one last moment to thank the silence, the stillness, the ordinary wonder of not feeling sick. Because that, too, is a miracle, one that happens in your bloodstream, in your lymph, in your lungs and skin and marrow. It is the miracle of an orchestra that knows how to play in the background. So let go now. Let your breath grow softer. Let your body feel light. You are cared for. You are guarded. You are whole. And the invisible orchestra plays on.
There is a special kind of beauty in things that work quietly. A candle that flickers without sound. A heartbeat that pulses through the night. A system that protects without demanding attention. Your immune system is just that, a master of quiet work, a silent engineer of balance. It is not one thing. It is many voices, many layers, each one tuned to a slightly different frequency of danger. And yet somehow, they all come together in perfect coordination. Not every immune cell fights. Some simply watch. Some deliver messages. Some carry memories, like a symphony remembering how it played a beautiful note long ago. And some are peacekeepers, reminding the others when the song must soften. This ability, to know when to stop, is just as important as knowing when to act. Because the immune system is powerful. So powerful, in fact, that if left unchecked, it could do more harm than good. It's like a fire, warmth when controlled, but destruction when wild. So your body builds and pauses, breaks, signals that say, enough. Cells called regulatory cells arrive to quiet the noise. They calm the inflammation. They guide the recovery. And sometimes, if all is well, the immune response fades so gently that you never even knew it had begun. There are people who live their whole lives, never once thinking about this hidden system. They grow, age, love, and dream, never aware of the orchestra playing beneath their skin. But to know it is there, to understand even a whisper of its music, is to feel a little more whole. You are not defenseless. You are not unguarded. You are, in every moment, protected by a system more ancient than memory, more intelligent than any machine, and more tireless than any army. Even as you drift into sleep tonight, your immune system continues. If a cell begins to misbehave, there are watchers nearby. If a virus slips into a lung, the signal begins instantly. If a wound opens, The symphony shifts its tempo and arrives with help. Not in a rush, not in fear, but with grace. This is your first line of defense. Not swords, but songs. Not panic, but poetry. And so we end this part of our journey. Not with an exclamation, but with a whisper. We've met your skin, your neutrophils, your macrophages, your lymphatic pathways, your dendritic scouts, your chemical messengers, and your tissues that quietly inflame and then recover. Each one plays a role. Each one knows its place. You are not a single voice. You are a harmony, a living, breathing harmony. In the next part, we'll step deeper into the inner sanctum. We'll explore your adaptive immune system, the system that remembers, learns, adapts, and evolves with every challenge. We'll meet the B cells that build antibodies like master artisans, the T cells that hunt with precision, and the memory cells that carry the echoes of every battle you've survived. But for now, let yourself rest. You are held. You are heard. You are safe. The invisible orchestra plays on. And tonight, it plays you gently into sleep. Your immune system at rest. Always watching, always waiting. Now, we draw closer. To the threshold. To the moment when the stillness breaks. And the first alarm bells begin to ring. But even this alarm, this rapid, ancient defense, does not shout. It hums. It flows. It acts with precision, not panic. Because the innate immune system is not reckless. It is wise. It is old. It is the first memory of protection your body ever had. And though it doesn't learn the way your adaptive system does, it doesn't need to. It already knows. Let's imagine a single bacterium entering your body. It drifts on a speck of dust, inhaled through your nose, or resting on a slice of fruit. It's invisible to you, a shadow of a shadow, but not to your body, because that bacterium carries something unmistakable, a signature, not a name, but a molecular shape, a fragment of its outer coat, a protein on its surface, something different, something foreign, and your body knows. This knowing doesn't come from thought. It comes from specialized sentinels scattered throughout your tissues. They are cells like macrophages, dendritic cells, and neutrophils, and they possess something extraordinary, pattern recognition receptors, also called PRRs. These receptors are like ancient tuning forks, each one vibrating only to a certain kind of danger. When a PRR touches a matching pattern, a shape common to bacteria, viruses, or fungi, it sings, not with sound, but with action. The cell awakens. Signals are released. Messages are sent. The innate immune system is online. What does it do first? It begins with inflammation, not chaos, but communication. Inflammation is a language. It tells nearby cells, something is wrong. Come here. Act now. The blood vessels in the area respond. They widen. Their walls loosen, allowing white blood cells to pass through. Imagine a river turning into a floodgate, a rush of defenders pouring into the tissue. This is why you see redness, why the skin feels warm, why you feel tenderness at the sight. It's not the enemy causing pain. It's your body responding. Fever, swelling, aches. They are not signs of weakness. They are signs that your body knows, and that it's doing something about it. Let's slow down with a closer look at one of these key players. Shield, the macrophage, big eater. From the Greek macro meaning big and phagian meaning to eat. Macrophages are your body's gentle giants. They live in tissues all over the body. In your lungs, your liver, your skin, even your brain. They don't travel far. They stay home. Because their job is not just to fight, but to maintain peace. They clean up dead cells. They remove debris. They watch for signs of trouble. And when they sense a pathogen, a virus, a bacterium, a parasite, they act. They extend soft arms called pseudopodia and wrap them around the intruder, engulfing it completely. Inside the macrophage, enzymes break it down, destroy it, and the danger is no more. You'll never feel it happen. But in that tiny act, a battle was won. Next, let's meet another guardian. The natural killer cell, silent eliminator. These are your NK cells. And despite their dramatic name, they are precise, not cruel. Their mission? To detect and destroy infected or cancerous cells before those cells can hurt you. They patrol your body like quiet hunters. Every healthy cell has a kind of ID badge, a molecule that says, "I belong here." But some infected cells lose that ID. Some viruses even remove it. To avoid detection, that's when the NK cell steps in. When it finds a cell with a missing badge, or one sending distress signals, it releases tiny packets of enzymes that pierce the infected cell's membrane.
The cell dies. Quietly, cleanly, without spreading harm. It is, in every sense, a mercy. All the while, these actions are being recorded, not by pen or paper, but by cytokines, chemical messengers that tell the rest of the immune system what's happening. They drift into the bloodstream. They alert the bone marrow to make more white blood cells. They tell the liver to release proteins that help trap bacteria. They even signal the brain, leading to a rise in body temperature. That's your fever, not a symptom to fear, but a tool, a carefully tuned response. Because many bacteria and viruses struggle to reproduce at higher temperatures, your body raises the heat to slow them down, to buy time, to take control. It's worth noting, all of this happens within hours of danger entering your body, sometimes minutes, often before you even feel the first signs. That's the power of the innate immune system. It doesn't need to ask questions. It doesn't need to remember past battles. It just knows, and it acts. Over millions of years, it has been shaped by one simple truth: react fast or don't survive. But the innate system is not just about killing or attacking. It also cleans. It repairs. It prepares the stage for what's to come next. Because if the battle lasts more than a few days, your body must bring in the specialists, the adaptive immune system. And so, even as macrophages and neutrophils fight, another group of cells begins collecting pieces of the invaders. Fragments of proteins, bits of viral code. These fragments are handed off, like sheet music, passed to a conductor, and that conductor will use it to orchestrate a more refined, more targeted response. But that is a song for another part. Let's pause here and let your breath slow. As you lie still, your innate immune system continues its quiet patrol. It does not need your awareness. It does not ask for your gratitude. But tonight, you may offer it anyway. A silent thank you to the cells that eat without eyes, to the messengers that whisper in molecules, to the fever that rises to protect, not punish, and to the ancient wisdom written into your very blood. You may never have thought of your body as wise, but it is. It has been solving problems since long before you were born, long before your ancestors walked the earth, even before mammals breathed for the first time. This part of your immune system, your innate defense, is not new. It is ancient. It existed before learning was possible, before memory existed. It reacts not by decision, but by design. And part of that design is to make your body harder to live in for invaders. One of the most powerful tools it uses is something that, for centuries, we've misunderstood, something we've feared, treated, and tried to eliminate. It's time to rethink it. It's time to talk about fever. Imagine this. A virus has entered your body, perhaps through a breath, or a tiny cut you didn't even notice. It slips into a cell and begins to replicate, hijacking your body's machinery to build copies of itself. Your immune system sees the signs. Cytokines, tiny molecular messengers, are released, and some of them float up toward your brain, to a small but powerful region called the hypothalamus. This is your body's thermostat, and the cytokines gently turn the dial. Not recklessly, not by accident, but with care. Your body temperature begins to rise. This is not a failure. This is a strategy, because many viruses and bacteria can only replicate within a narrow temperature range. And by raising your body's heat by even 1 or 2 degrees, your immune system slows them down. Meanwhile, your white blood cells begin to move faster. Like dancers whose tempo has increased, your responses sharpen. Your defenses accelerate. You may feel tired, heavy, warm, but what you're experiencing is not defeat. It's the beginning of victory. A fever isn't your body losing control. It's your body taking control, raising the temperature of the battlefield so that its enemies falter, while its defenders thrive. And when the danger is gone, the cytokines reverse the signal. The hypothalamus lowers the temperature. The fire dims, and peace returns, not with fanfare, not with noise, but with balance restored. Now let's return to those messengers. The cytokines. There are hundreds of them, each with a different role, a different message to carry. Some call for help. Others slow things down. Some tell cells when to arrive. Others tell them when to leave. Think of cytokines like the sheet music of the immune symphony, not the instruments, but the notes. And they are always changing. During an infection, cytokine levels rise and fall in waves, guiding the immune response like a gentle hand conducting an orchestra. Too little, and the defense fails. Too much, and the body can hurt itself. So the system tunes itself constantly, adjusting, correcting, listening, responding. And somehow, it almost always gets it right. Let's now follow the flow of lymph, the quiet river of your immune system. Unlike your bloodstream, which is pumped by the powerful thump of your heart, the lymphatic system has no pump. It flows gently, moved by the motion of your muscles and the rise and fall of your breath. Lymph carries more than waste. It carries signals, cells, fragments of invaders, like tiny messages drifting through a forest stream. It passes through lymph nodes, those small, soft stations under your arms, in your neck, in your belly. You've likely felt them swell when you're sick. That's not a problem. That's a meeting in progress. Inside, immune cells gather to discuss, to analyze, to decide what comes next. These are hubs of immune intelligence, places where your body pauses, thinks, and plans its next move. Among the cells arriving at these nodes are more than just the first responders. There are monocytes, which can become macrophages, dendritic cells, carrying evidence from the site of infection. And soon, the adaptive system will begin to awaken. But even now, the innate system is far from finished. It continues cleaning the tissues, clearing debris, removing dead cells, and preparing for repair. Because protection isn't just about fighting. It's also about healing. Let's take a moment to appreciate something beautiful. Every time your body defends against an infection, every time it inflames, heats, and attacks, it also remembers to calm down.
Inflammation that stays too long can damage tissues. So your innate system also has its own brakes, its own signals that say, it's over. We can rest now. Begin the cleanup. Cells like regulatory macrophages begin to release anti-inflammatory cytokines. Tissue repair factors begin to flow. Stem cells may activate. New vessels may grow. And all of this, from the first recognition of danger to the final step of repair, is handled quietly, softly, with incredible grace. Let's think about an ordinary day. You go to work, or school, or take a walk outside. You touch a doorknob, handle money, shake hands, eat a snack, breathe in 100 different particles. And yet, you don't get sick. Not every time. Not even most times. Why? Because your innate immune system is doing its job. It recognizes threats quickly. It cleans them up quietly. And you move on with your life, never knowing the drama that nearly unfolded beneath your skin. Now, drift your attention inward, to the blood quietly flowing through your arms, to the gentle rise and fall of your breath, to the warm hum in your belly. These are not just signs of life. They are signs of protection, signs that you are safe, Because the system within you, the system you were born with, is always at work, always attentive, always ready, even in your sleep, especially in your sleep. In the next part, we will meet the next layer of defense, the part of your immune system that learns, that remembers, that builds immunity with precision, the adaptive immune system. But for now, let your body rest in gratitude for the defenses it carries. The silent guards, the watchers in your tissues, the messengers in your blood, the quiet intelligence that rises the moment something goes wrong and fades the moment all is well. The innate system is not loud. It is not flashy. It is not learned. It is known, and it keeps you safe every day. And so, beneath the surface of your calmest days, the innate immune system is always at work. It doesn't sleep. It doesn't hesitate. It knows no memory, but it never forgets what to do. It acts instantly, with clarity born not from experience, but from design. Every cell has a role. Every movement has meaning. There is no guesswork, no hesitation. And when the moment comes, this system rises like a tide, moving swiftly and silently toward whatever has disturbed the peace. But as incredible as this system is, there are limits to what it can do alone. The innate immune system doesn't adapt. It cannot tailor its response to specific enemies, nor can it improve its performance with time. It is powerful, yes, but it is general. To achieve precision, to develop memory, to truly learn, your body must turn to something more specialized. But that doesn't mean the innate system simply ends its role here. Instead, it becomes the bridge, the signal fire, the part of your body that not only reacts, but calls in reinforcements with perfect timing. One of the most beautiful examples of this handoff comes from the dendritic cell. We've touched on it before, but now we slow down to see its brilliance more clearly. Unlike the aggressive neutrophils, dendritic cells are quiet sentinels. They don't rush to the scene with weapons drawn. They observe. They collect information. They sample the molecules of viruses, bacteria, and other invaders. And then, with great care, they pack these pieces and begin a journey. They travel through the lymphatic system, carried gently in the clear current of lymph. They move from the tissues, through vessels, and finally arrive in a lymph node, one of hundreds scattered throughout your body. There, the dendritic cells present what they've found. They hold out the molecular fragments like evidence, like photographs of a suspect. They show them to other immune cells, waiting silently in the lymph node, ready to respond. This is the moment when the innate immune system taps the shoulder of the adaptive immune system. A message has been delivered. Something unfamiliar is here. Something that doesn't belong. Something worth remembering. And with that, the adaptive system begins to stir. But we'll come to that soon. For now, let's look closer at how the innate system continues to support this transition. Because it doesn't stop just because backup is on the way. It continues to fight. It holds the line. It keeps the enemy contained, slowing the spread, limiting the damage, giving the adaptive system time to prepare its specialized response. At the front lines, neutrophils are still active. They pour into the tissues, engulfing invaders, releasing enzymes, sacrificing themselves when needed. These cells die young, but die with purpose. Their bodies pile up to form pus, a temporary graveyard of defense. Behind them, macrophages clean up the battlefield. They digest dead cells, clear debris, and release signals that shape the incoming adaptive wave. Meanwhile, the cytokines are still flowing. Some call for help. Others prepare nearby tissues for defense. Still others travel to the liver, where a different kind of weapon is forged, proteins called the acute phase reactants. These include molecules like C-reactive protein and serum amyloid A. They help opsonize bacteria, meaning they coat them in a way that makes them easier for immune cells to see and destroy. Like throwing bright paint on an invisible enemy, the innate system uses chemistry to illuminate danger. All of this happens without a single thought from you, without awareness, without your consent, and yet it is perfectly orchestrated. Sometimes, The innate system fights a threat entirely on its own. A shallow skin infection, a minor respiratory virus. These often end before the adaptive system needs to get involved. But when the threat is greater, deeper, faster spreading, more dangerous, that's when the handoff becomes critical. It is worth remembering that even as the innate immune system supports this transition, it is not blind. Its sensors are ancient, but still remarkably specific. Pattern recognition receptors detect features common to pathogens, things your own cells don't make. Lipopolysaccharides on bacterial surfaces, double-stranded RNA in viral infections, flagellin, a protein found in bacterial tails. These molecules are the red flags your body has evolved to recognize. And when they're found, innate immune cells not only respond with force, they also begin producing type I interferons. These special cytokines are a kind of early warning system for viral infections. Interferons don't destroy viruses directly. Instead, they act as messengers to neighboring cells, telling them to shut their doors, to stop making proteins, to become temporarily inhospitable to viral replication.
This is one of the most elegant forms of protection your body offers. It doesn't attack the virus. It changes the environment so the virus can't survive. That's the power of information. Of course, all of this must be balanced. Too much inflammation, too many cytokines, too many interferons, and the body can suffer. Tissue damage, swelling, pain, even self-destruction. This is why the immune system is so tightly regulated. Every step forward has a counterbalance. Every movement of aggression is followed by a call to heal. Like music, it rises and falls with rhythm. And when the song is over, the instruments must fall silent again. And so, even as the battle ends, the innate immune system doesn't disappear. It becomes the cleanup crew, the repair force. It clears out the battlefield, removes the dying cells, and lays the groundwork for healing. It releases signals to calm inflammation, to rebuild tissue, to restore balance. And in the background, the adaptive immune system steps into the light, now fully awakened, fully armed, and fully informed, thanks to the messages and actions of the innate response. The transition is seamless. You don't feel it, but your body knows. It shifts from reaction to precision, from general defense to targeted immunity. And the conversation between these two systems, innate and adaptive, is what keeps you not only alive, but protected for the future. But that next layer, the adaptive system, deserves its own spotlight. For now, just rest in this truth. Your body is not passive. It is not defenseless. It is a quiet, intelligent fortress, responding, adapting, and recovering without you even needing to know. The alarm bells of innate immunity do not ring loudly. They hum beneath your skin. They light the path for all that follows. They rise when needed and fall when peace returns. And tonight, that peace is yours. The body you live in, the one you walk around in every day, is not as solid as it seems. It is porous, open, exposed. Tiny doors are everywhere, in your nose, in your mouth, in your gut, in your skin. And through these doorways, the world tries to enter. It's not always hostile. Most of the time, it simply is, full of life, full of particles, full of invisible travelers. You live among trillions of microorganisms, and every moment of contact is a moment of possibility. Yet you remain, for the most part, untouched. You are not constantly sick. You are not constantly inflamed. You are protected, not by accident, but by design. Your innate immune system is the unseen gatekeeper. It doesn't wait for trouble to grow. It doesn't hesitate until it's too late. It sees, it senses, it acts. And because of that, most dangers end before they even begin. One of the most elegant aspects of this system is that it never stops adjusting. While it doesn't learn in the way the adaptive system does, it still listens. Every infection, every tissue injury, every encounter with something foreign changes the tone of the immune conversation. Certain macrophages adapt their behavior depending on the environment. Some become warriors. Others become healers. Some specialize in cleaning. Others focus on rebuilding. The same cell type, but different roles, depending on what the body needs. This flexibility is not memory in the traditional sense, but it is wisdom, cellular wisdom, a kind of built-in knowing that responds not just to pathogens, but to context. The innate immune system is also deeply involved in communication with the nervous system. Cytokines released during immune activity can affect your brain. They can make you feel tired, quiet, withdrawn. These are not side effects. They are strategies. When your body needs energy to fight or heal, your immune system whispers to your brain, slow down, sleep more, eat less, be still. And so you are. Fatigue, loss of appetite, the pull toward rest, they are not weaknesses. They are adaptations. Your body asking for your cooperation. And most of the time, you comply without even knowing why. Now imagine all of this happening while you sleep. You lie still in your bed. The room is dark. The world is quiet. But your body is not inactive. Your immune system is busy. Sleep is not a time of silence. It is a time of recalibration. While you dream, your innate immune system reviews the day. It removes damaged cells. It surveys the gut. It performs background maintenance. Like a city cleaning its streets after midnight, your body restores order in the quiet hours. Even your skin, your largest immune organ, is involved. It isn't just a wall. It's alive with immune cells. Langerhans cells patrol the surface. They watch for breaches. They communicate with deeper layers of defense. And when something dangerous penetrates the outer layer, a splinter, a burn, a scratch, your skin doesn't wait. The alarm sounds. The blood vessels widen. The cells arrive. The healing begins. And always, the goal is restoration. That's the key. The innate system doesn't just attack. It rebuilds. It returns you to equilibrium, to the baseline, to health. Even fever, which may feel like illness, is part of this restoration. It slows the enemy. It speeds your defenders. And when its purpose is served, it subsides without fanfare. You never have to ask it to do this. It doesn't need instruction. It doesn't need permission. It simply knows. There is a particular kind of beauty in systems that work best when unnoticed. Like the gentle hum of a refrigerator, the flow of air in a quiet room, or the beating of a heart. The innate immune system is just like that. Always present, always adjusting, never demanding attention, but always deserving of awe. In some ways, the innate system is like a parent to the adaptive one. It goes ahead first. It encounters the world. It takes the risk. And when it finds something it cannot handle alone, it calls for help, not in panic, but in precision. It delivers the evidence, gives the warning, sets the stage. And then, the adaptive system, younger, more specific, but slower, arrives. That handoff is seamless. And when the adaptive system learns, it remembers. That memory is not just held by itself. The whole body shifts. It becomes faster next time, more accurate, more efficient, because the innate system now knows what to expect. It doesn't remember the way the adaptive system does, but it learns to listen better. And over time, your entire immune system becomes more refined, more responsive, more capable. From the first breath of your life, your innate immune system was there. From the moment you passed through the world's air, from the second your skin touched something outside the womb, your body was already defending you with neutrophils, macrophages, cytokines, and fever. Long before you had memory, it did. Long before you could learn, It already knew. And it still does. You can feel safe now. You can let go of the day's thoughts. You can rest knowing that your body is not waiting to respond. It already is. If something changes, it will know. If something invades, it will act. If healing is needed, it will begin. In the background, always, the symphony continues. And as one section begins to slow, the soft notes of innate immunity completing their song, another section begins to rise. In our next part, we'll meet the adaptive immune system. We'll see how your body creates memory from experience, how it designs antibodies like custom tools, how it builds immunity with precision and care, and how that memory can last for years, sometimes even a lifetime. But for now, rest in the peace of your earliest protector. The alarm bells have rung. The defense is in motion, and the healing has already begun. Your body remembers more than you think, not just in your brain, not in thoughts or dreams, but in your very cells. It remembers danger. It remembers survival, and it never forgets a face it's seen before. This is where we begin the next part of our journey. Beyond the fast, ancient reflexes of the innate immune system lies a quieter, slower, but more precise intelligence. It does not rush. It learns. This is the world of adaptive immunity. While the innate system responds to patterns, shapes, and signals that look foreign, the adaptive immune system takes time to study, to recognize, and to design a custom solution for each threat. It's not just a defense. It's a memory, a long-term companion shaped by every infection you've faced, even those you didn't know you had. Let's go deeper now, into the lymph nodes and bone marrow, where this memory is born. Inside your bones, deep within your marrow, a special kind of cell is constantly being made. It's called a lymphocyte, and it will become either a B cell or a T cell, depending on the path it takes. These cells are the heart of your adaptive immune system, and each one carries a unique receptor on its surface, like a lock waiting for a single, matching key. There are billions of these locks, each one a little different, each one prepared for a threat that may or may not appear. When a pathogen invades, a virus, a bacterium, even a rogue cancer cell, your innate system does its part, slowing the spread, raising the temperature, sending out messages. And some of those messages arrive in the lymph nodes, carried by dendritic cells, displaying fragments of the enemy like puzzle pieces. There, inside the lymph node, a miracle of probability begins. The dendritic cell waits, surrounded by a sea of T cells and B cells, each with their unique lock. Most walk by, nothing happens, but then one arrives. One whose receptor matches the puzzle piece perfectly. The key fits the lock, and that's when everything changes. This matching lymphocyte becomes activated. It begins to divide, slowly at first, then rapidly. 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, and soon, an army is born. Each new cell carries the same receptor, each one now ready to fight the threat it recognizes. Some of these will become effector cells, active fighters, ready to hunt, signal, and destroy. Others become memory cells, long-lived, quiet observers, that will remain in your body for years, watching for the same invader to return. Let's follow these two branches separately now. First, the T cells. T cells mature in the thymus, a small gland that sits behind your breastbone. Here, they are trained not to attack your own body. Only a small percentage pass this test. Once mature, they travel through the body until they're activated by their matching threat. Some become helper T cells. They don't kill. They coordinate. They release cytokines that guide the rest of the immune system, calling in macrophages, activating B cells, amplifying the response. Think of them as conductors, setting the tempo, shaping the sound. Others become cytotoxic T cells, cells trained to kill with precision. When they find an infected cell, a body cell displaying a foreign marker, they bind to it, release toxic granules, and trigger it to self-destruct. It sounds harsh, but it's not cruel. It's controlled. It's necessary. It prevents the virus from spreading. And because it's targeted, healthy cells nearby remain untouched. Now let's turn to the B cells. These remarkable cells create what may be the most elegant weapons in your entire body. Antibodies. When a B cell is activated by its matching antigen, often with help from a T cell, it begins producing large amounts of these special proteins. Each antibody fits its target like a glove. It binds tightly, blocking the pathogen from entering cells, marking it for destruction, or neutralizing its harmful parts. These antibodies float in your blood, your saliva, even your tears. They don't destroy threats directly, but they tag them, signal them, and sometimes even clump them together, so that other cells can sweep them away more easily. You've likely heard of antibodies before. They're the heroes we test for in labs, the goal of every vaccine, the molecular memory of illness. But their creation is anything but simple. A single B cell may produce thousands of antibodies every second, each one crafted to match a specific shape, a specific invader. And once the infection is cleared, some B cells remain. They don't fight anymore. They remember. If the same virus or bacteria returns months, or even years later, these memory B cells react instantly. No delay, no learning curve. The infection is stopped before you ever feel sick. That's the power of adaptive immunity. It's not just about survival. It's about getting better at surviving each time. This is why childhood infections often don't repeat. Why vaccines work. Why your immune system becomes smarter with age. It's not infallible, but it is intelligent. It learns from the past, and it keeps a record, not in books, but in blood, in tissue, in the architecture of your cells. And like a great library, your body holds onto these memories, as long as it can, sometimes for life.
Other times for a few years, but always with the same goal: to prevent illness before it begins. And so even now, as you rest and listen, somewhere inside you, a B cell you've never met still remembers a virus from your childhood. Somewhere in your lymph nodes, a T cell waits quietly, ready to protect you from a threat you may never see again. That is the beauty of memory. It doesn't need your awareness. It simply needs time. The adaptive immune system doesn't rush. It doesn't shout. It studies. It listens. And when it finally sings, it does so with clarity, like a soloist in a great orchestra. Its voice is calm, strong, and unforgettable, and it leaves the body forever changed. The adaptive immune system doesn't act immediately. It's not designed to be fast. That's the job of the innate immune system, the rapid responders, the early scouts, the first defenders. But once the adaptive system is activated, it does something extraordinary. It builds a defense tailored to the exact threat your body is facing. One so specific, so carefully shaped, that it can remember the invader down to its molecular fingerprint. This delay, usually a few days, is a trade-off. While the innate immune system acts in minutes or hours, the adaptive immune system waits. It gathers information. It analyzes. It builds something new. This is not guesswork. It is craftsmanship. Every antibody, every receptor, every cytotoxic response, all are constructed for one purpose: to match what has been seen before. And once matched, they multiply. You might wonder what happens after the infection is over. Do all these cells disappear? Do they vanish once peace is restored? No. Some go quiet. Some are decommissioned, but others remain. These are the memory cells. They are not many in number, but they are powerful. Unlike naive cells, the ones that have never encountered an invader, memory cells don't need time to prepare. They've already seen the enemy, already know the plan, already built the tools. So if the same virus returns, if a bacterial invader tries again, Your memory cells respond immediately. They don't need to be taught. They remember. This is why second infections are usually milder or don't happen at all. In some cases, the response is so quick and so complete that you never even feel sick. You never run a fever, never feel fatigue. The immune system resolves the conflict before you ever notice it was there. It's happening all the time. And this is also how vaccines work. Vaccination is the gift of memory without the cost of suffering. A vaccine shows your immune system a safe, harmless version of a pathogen, maybe just a protein, or a weakened form of the virus, or a fragment of its genetic code. No illness, just the message. Your adaptive immune system studies that message. It matches it. It creates a memory. So if the real thing ever enters your body, your immune system already knows what to do. No delay, no guessing, just a fast, familiar response. Vaccines do not make your immune system stronger. They make it smarter. They give it a head start, a preview, a rehearsal, and your body never forgets a good rehearsal. Some memory lasts for decades, others for a few years. It depends on the pathogen and the person, but in every case, memory gives you something invaluable. Time. Time to respond. Time to stop the spread. Time to heal faster. Now let's go back to the lymph node for a moment. The quiet stage where it all begins. Inside, a single dendritic cell might present a fragment of a virus, let's say a spike protein from a coronavirus. All around it are thousands of T cells, each scanning, each checking to see if they recognize the shape. Most don't, but then one pauses. It lingers. Its receptor fits. The shape is familiar. And in that moment, tiny, silent, invisible, a new chapter begins. That T cell will activate. It will divide. And soon, dozens, then hundreds of clones are formed. Some will leave the lymph node and travel to the site of infection. Others will remain behind, as sentinels of memory. The same happens for B cells. With help from helper T cells, they begin to mature and refine their antibodies. This is another miracle. Your body doesn't just make antibodies and stop. It keeps improving them. This process is called affinity maturation. Each new generation of B cells makes slightly better antibodies, ones that bind more tightly, more precisely. Over the course of a few days, your immune system doesn't just respond, it evolves. That's right. Inside your body, evolution is happening right now. Not in species, not in generations, but in cells. Each B cell that produces a slightly better antibody is selected to survive, to divide, to dominate the response. And the antibodies that result from this process are not just good. They're excellent. So excellent that they can remain in circulation for months, sometimes years, sometimes forever. This is why, even after recovery, you may have detectable antibodies in your blood. They are a record of the battle, a memory printed in protein. And yet, the story is even richer. Because your immune system doesn't just protect you during infections. It also surveys for mutations, for cancerous cells, for changes within your own tissues that signal something is wrong. Some T cells are trained to spot these abnormalities. They are not just infection fighters. They are internal monitors, watching, waiting, ready to remove a cell that grows in ways it shouldn't. In many cases, they succeed. Before a tumor forms, before a symptom appears, the cells are quietly destroyed, and balance is restored. You never knew, but your immune system did. That's the theme again and again. This system doesn't wait for you to understand. It acts long before you feel anything at all. Now let's return to memory. There are three main types of memory cells: memory B cells, memory helper T cells, and memory cytotoxic T cells. Each one remains after an infection, resting quietly in lymph nodes, spleen, bone marrow, or tissues. Some even patrol the same areas where the original infection occurred, a kind of forward base in case the invader returns. These cells don't produce antibodies or attack immediately. They wait. They monitor. But once they detect a repeat of the threat, they remember. They react with breathtaking speed. Memory B cells begin producing high-affinity antibodies within hours. Memory T cells release cytokines, activate other cells, and kill infected cells directly. What once took days now takes moments. The second encounter is rarely like the first, because this time, your body already knows. And just like that, the infection is stopped before it ever becomes a story. You feel nothing. You move on. And yet, you've just been saved.